Hello everybody, welcome to the Friday at 6 show, the monthly event show for startup entrepreneurs in Berlin, one of the best startup cities in the world. And today we're going to interview 6 guests, 2 pitches, 4 interviews, and we're having a live band. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Friday at 6. And today here at my table are 2 very experienced entrepreneurs, 2 guys who really in the scene, when they say something, you have to pay attention. So my first guest on my right side, give him a big warm welcome, Felix Peterson, CEO of Amen and Thanks. And on my left side, there's another CEO. He's of TradeMob, and he was so cool to invite us tonight in his office here, TradeMob Friedrichstraße, right in the center of the city. Give him a big applause, Ravi Kamran. And when you think, okay, Felix Peterson, did I hear this name somewhere before? Probably you did, because this guy is always very open and has also quite a big history already in startups. He sold his company Places to Nokia, where he became product director, and then he started. Felix, how long ago did you start Amen? When you started again, you have to take the microphone for yourself.
Hello, yeah. We started 2011.
Okay, so that's now a little bit less than 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and now after Amen, you have made Thanks, and this is also something that we're going to talk about today. Could you say in general, how is Thanks doing? Only a couple of weeks old, but...
Well, it's just we launched roughly 1.5 weeks ago, and so far we're very, very happy. So basically, it's a companion app, right? So to Amen, it's a second product that we've come out with, and yeah, I mean, couldn't be happier.
Yeah, okay, we're going to talk more deeply about that. Ravi, TradeMob is a company you received 50 million in funding, over 100 employees now, open an office in San Francisco, but the head office is Berlin. How come that I didn't hear that much about you so far?
I don't know. So maybe because we are more in the B2B business, since we run app marketing, so we mainly work with companies that have apps and want to promote them.
Yeah, so everybody knows apps, of course, but you're an app marketing platform, so you have to kind of, who are the parties that are involved with your product? On the one side, you have the publishers of who make the apps. On the other side, you have the advertisers, and where do you come in then?
Well, actually, that was too complicated for us, so we said we just focus on one side. So we are just on the advertiser side, which means we just speak to companies that have apps and need users for the app. And on the publisher side, we simply try to buy traffic from all over the world. So there are other companies that are great in getting those publishers. We simply work with them, which is making it much easier and for us to really focus building the best for advertisers.
Yeah. And how do you become CEO of an app marketing platform? Because for most people, that wouldn't be the first choice, so to say, if they think, we're going to do something exciting with tech. Or am I totally wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. But actually, formerly, I was just CEO of myself when I started. And I just started in mobile advertising knowing that I want to try to solve the largest problem without really knowing it's going to be an app marketing platform at that time. But it was just an evolution that we had when we tried to solve the largest problems for mobile advertisers. Mm-hmm.
And do you think that this is because you studied at WHU, which is like a famous university here in Germany? Because all these guys, so to say, I don't want to mention their names too often in this show, but the Zonwares also went there. They did all e-commerce. So how did you end up in this? Because 2/3 of your company are like hardcore tech people, right? Yeah. So how did you end up in this business?
I think that's maybe one of my personal favorites. I like technology a lot, and I love mobile. I believe mobile is just the future, and was just some easy combination without really knowing doing what. And afterwards, I saw that in advertising, this really like that space because it's something where you can bring tremendous value to many companies. And that was just how it evolved. There was no master plan in the beginning, to be honest. So
sounds very much like a startup.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So Felix, would you even consider paying for people to download the app?
Well, I think it all depends on whether you have whether you monetize your users or not. I think I mean it depends a little bit on the strategy, but basically if you can't put a value to your user, you shouldn't pay for them, right? Of course there's companies and you know the regular customers for, you know, app promotion are basically the ones where they say we know we have a customer lifetime value of, I don't know, €4, and so we can spend €2 on acquisition, right? Until you're there, you really need to build on organic channels, basically.
Yeah. So you never paid for users on the platform, and you don't want to, right?
No.
Yeah. So you are building this community. You built this community first with Amen, and now you develop Thanks. So what's the difference between the both of the apps?
Right. So they're complementary. It's I believe a very unique approach that I haven't seen anywhere else yet. It's basically we're using the same underlying data, and it's almost like two interfaces to the same data, right? So I always like to explain it in the way that we're seeing three stages for the company, for Amen. So the first was we built a social game. You know, we focused on stickiness, we focused on retention, exactly on these kind of, you know, things that you need in order to grow organically, right? And it was all about generating a lot of opinions, generating a lot of data. So if you don't know what Amen is, in short, it's an opinion platform. So you go in and you say something is the best, and it's a very structured format. So we can basically end up with, you know, hit lists for all the bests, right? And so now with millions of these lists, we have a very engaged core audience, but basically
3 million opinions you have,
over
right?
4 by now.
Over 4, okay.
So basically, you know, you can go in and you can find, you know, the best pastrami sandwich in Berlin to, you know, the best iOS app for kids this month to, you know, fairly quirky stuff like the best actor with just one facial expression and, right? So it's, you know, people love these rankings, but basically no one has figured out so far how to do it without an editorial team and how to entirely, you know, drive it with user engagement from the community. And we did that, but of course, you know, it's a social, we ask you to invest something, right? It's another network you join, you know, and by now, of course, people, they use Instagram, they use Foursquare. It's hard to get people's, you know, time of their, you know, slices of their time. So basically, we are now focusing on the second stage, and that is Thanks, where it's more about the utility aspect, where it's not just, you know, the people that like to play Amen and the people that have strong opinions, but we want to give something for everybody.
Yeah. But how does this community on Thanks grow then the quality of the results?
Right. So basically, I mean, we see a shift right now. We see, you know, what Facebook is doing with graph search. It's basically, okay, we have a lot of data, and probably someone in your social graph and, you know, from your circle of friends has probably said something about this particular movie, but it's hard to extract. So that's why they did graph search. Foursquare is focusing on explore. I believe that we see a big shift right now to, you know, to utility and to basically first giving people something before you ask them for something. And that's Thanks. You can just go in and find something. You don't need to, you know, add your friends. You don't need. So we keep the social aspect with Amen, but then on Thanks, it's first and foremost the utility, but there was one thing that we found. People react more to questions. So the outreach to outside the Amen network on Facebook and Twitter, the conversion is much better when you say, hey, Derek, you know, I know you know, do you know Amsterdam well? I don't know. Where are you from in Holland?
Amsterdam, yeah.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So, you
Perfect.
know, Derek, you know, I want to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Can you recommend me a good place for lunch with 4 people? You know, you will help me.
Yeah.
But if I just tell you, like, this is my opinion, take it or leave it, you probably won't react to it. Yeah. So Thanks has a good pull also, because you can, if the question hasn't been answered yet, if we don't have data,
right,
you can ask that question out.
Yeah.
And then, just to quickly finish, third phase is then monetization. So now we're building a discovery platform, and then, you know, we're going to monetize that data.
Okay. Yeah, now I have to ask you, because you perfectly build up the tension. How?
Well, it's simple. If you have people coming to you Because you know, if people come to you to make decisions, whether it's to buy stuff, to eat somewhere, to drink somewhere, then that is a very good base for monetization. So in contrast to maybe other social platforms, we have a very clear model from the beginning. We just haven't turned it on yet, right? So I think now it's just about critical mass. If you don't become a destination, a resource for people to find the best, then you have a hard time monetizing it. But on mobile, a lot of the searches are actually action-oriented. In the browser, a lot of people search for factual stuff. You know, when was Benjamin Franklin born, that kind of thing. On mobile, usually, if you search for a restaurant, you want to eat there. So there's actually great monetization opportunities, but
because of the growth of mobile.
Yeah, the growth of mobile, but also because of the intent, right? If I search for something, I have an intent to do something. I want to go somewhere and eat somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Rafi, have you looked at Thanks so far? Have you downloaded it already?
Yep, I've downloaded it.
And well, what does your professional opinion say about this experience in the new app?
Well, I already always take the marketing view from now, so always look at the app and was it made for conversion optimization, and if you look at the keywords being used, 5 screenshots, and yeah, that's how I look at it. And I think from the first look I took, it was made very professionally, and I think that's a very, very good app. I really like it.
Yeah, good app. Why?
Why?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good or bad. I mean, they already have the best or the worst, so you have to explain a bit.
Yeah, sure, but I think the idea behind that is very smart. Felix has lots of data gathered with Eamon, and exploiting on that data to deliver a service where you can get opinions, where you can actually find out things very quickly. That's, I think, an extremely smart idea and brings in
but can you,
value.
I mean, monetization. Do you think that with 4 million Eamon's opinions and now building on top of this with Thanks, do you think that he will reach that point? Do you see potential there to earn actual money?
Well, this is definitely a question Felix has to answer. We are there to help him win more users with that.
But he doesn't want to. He said he doesn't want to pay for users.
Once you turn on monetization, of course there's a model, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what Felix made right, from my personal opinion, is really building an extremely simple app that is bringing a clear value. When you look at the App Store with a million different apps, often you will come across apps where it's hard for you to find out, why is it there and why is it actually helping me? The 15th fart app doesn't gonna change the world, but something like that is just unique and innovative. And
yeah, tell me something about the development of TradeMob now, because you're in a, you read that everywhere, like super competitive space. It's a phrase that's very often used. But do you think that for you, because you're growing so fast, that is actually true, or do you think that we're so unique, we can definitely do something way better than all the others?
I personally think there's, generally we speak way too much about competition and way too little about, is that company bringing a value that's changing things? So, for example, if you look at competition, the mobile market has been growing so fast that it's like speaking about an ocean and having an argument about certain islands on that ocean. There's so much you can actually do to serve. And from our side, we have a pretty unique proposition. That's
almost philosophical. Are you a surfer?
No,
okay.
I don't think I look like, right?
well, you
maybe it's
a little bit. Your skin. Okay. Well.
Well, in general, what we try to do, and I believe that's gonna make the market better, is try to find an angle where you're different. And what we, for example, did is that, what I mentioned earlier, that hard focus only on advertising. So if you compare that to potential competitors, so like ad networks, where we often mention that normal ad networks, they're actually not competitors. We are their clients. We are buying traffic from them, and we believe that if you look at the market in that way, you will always find potential. And this is much more important than saying that is there another competitor or something.
Yeah. Felix, you must agree with this whole story, right? That you know, building something that is truly unique and maybe is not getting like right from the start all the traction that you want to, is worthwhile pursuing when you have a plan, when you have an idea. I believe that this is also something that you're really trying to do from Berlin.
Sure. I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's always the hardest. The hardest is to always to make the call. Basically, in hindsight, it's always easy to see where you should have turned. Where you should have taken turns left or right. The hard part is to make this decision when you're in it. How much to adjust. Basically, there's a lot of examples where just keep sticking to your original plan. I mean, with places, it was kind of the same thing. We were kind of early with the whole location-based stuff, but we just kept pushing in that direction, and it was the right decision. There's also a lot of stories where people very early made very radical decisions and said, yeah, this is not working, let's do something else entirely, right? And you'll find examples for both. And always when you talk to people in hindsight, they just retrace their step and try to turn it into a formula. But I think every position, every company, every situation is unique, and you have to make this call for yourself. So all these formulas flying around there, that's simply something that doesn't make sense to listen to.
Because especially in your position, you were at Nokia, you were the director, you once said, I don't know actually if it's really true, but you said, for my feeling, 100,000 people I was leading there. And now, with 3 million in funding, you're leading this team of, I think, 8 or 10 people.
10, yeah.
10. So, I mean, it's then maybe really hard to sometimes say, okay, we're going to try things out, because actually you would be able now to change things very fast. But what I've seen actually, that you developed this course and that you actually never really left the path, or am I? Did I?
Well, like I said, I think we have a pretty clear plan that we're sticking to, and it's kind of interesting to see how people, how now that they see things, they're like, now I start to understand it. A lot of people thought that Amen is just something to blurt your opinion out, and that they didn't even, a lot of people didn't.
And it was also a little bit like, okay.
Well, of course, but what people didn't understand, I think, and this is one of the reasons why we did a second app, is because once you're perceived for one certain use case, it's really hard, to put it second in. And I mean, that's what you said is basically, you need a very clear case for an app, and we experimented with one where you had both the social and the explore side in it, and it became too bloated. So we're like, no, let's do a second one that is just really focusing on what it does right. But I think a lot of people in the beginning didn't know exactly where we're going with this. They thought like, okay, they're just being awfully loud, and it's all about blurting out opinions. But they didn't see that because of the structure, we're building real value with the data that's there, much more so than other companies that just pile up status updates.
You studied also in Chicago. Right, for some time, so you know what the States are like, or was it just a fun time? I don't know. It's on your CV that you studied in Chicago.
Right, yeah, but that was something else entirely. That was photography. So I
But what I mean to say is, because you really decided to build this from Berlin, and you got so much criticism on traction wasn't there. People didn't get the idea.
Only from you.
Only from me. People don't tell it in your face. That's also true. So I mean, and then you stuck to the plan, so to say. You stayed there in Berlin because with Ashton Kutcher and all the. I mean, if you would have been in Silicon Valley with the backings of the Hollywood star, but you stayed in Berlin, weren't your chances much higher when you go to the States with this kind of app and become big there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, basically,
the Germans don't use this kind of social media stuff, right?
Right, but it doesn't depend. It's our target audience isn't Germans. We're building it here, but I think from Berlin.
But then you also need to be somewhere else, right? You need to be present there in the media, like Alex Leung of SoundCloud is now doing in San Francisco, because. They want to be big in the States.
But see, when they did that step, after they were building a platform for a long time, acquiring users all over the world. It's not that their users were first in Germany and now they're going to the US. These days, especially with the consumer app, people don't even know that we're from here. It really doesn't matter. It's more about, really looking at the data and just building something that works.
Yeah. What's your experience now with having all these offices around the world? Do you notice that your perception changed maybe on the company or on the product?
No, really, Berlin is just the best city in the world, really. That's all we have noticed, being in London. Well, honestly, it's like everywhere you go, it's in New York, people tell you like, well, Berlin is like New York in its 80s. It's still cool, it's cheap, you can do great things. Yeah. San Francisco, they tell you, well, that's a new mobile tech city. Everywhere you go, people love Berlin. And so we will never change headquarters. That's really, really our city. And the other offices that we have are more or less offices to make sure we are close to the clients. But this is where we want to be.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a big round of applause. These two wonderful guests, Felix and Ravi. So after talking to Ravi and Felix, it's now time for our first pitch. And this pitch is going to be given by Alexandra Weiss, and she's from 360 Report. Please give her another big round of applause. Alexandra Weiss from 360 Report.
Thank you very much. Today I'm going to present you 360 Report, which is a sustainability software or enables small, medium-sized companies to create their own sustainability report. The problem nowadays is that due to financial crisis and demographic development, corporations are able to develop big CSR strategies and CSR management systems, but small and medium-sized companies are really not able to do that because data is too difficult to enter, it's too difficult the standards are too difficult, to develop or to transform the data into a meaningful sustainability report is too difficult too. So that's why we created 360 Report. Sustainability is a great success factor because it reduces risks and costs, because you can avoid reputational risks, you can reduce or you can identify cost drivers like energy, material, and you can exploit the opportunities like increasing your credibility, and you can as well find qualified employees and retain them. You can facilitate innovations and you can differentiate yourself from competitors. So we created 360 Report as it is very low cost. You can calculate your own CO2 I'm sorry. You can calculate the CO2 emissions. You don't have to use an external consultant, and you can as well transform the data very easily into a report, a meaningful report. And it's based on the 4 global standards: Greenhouse Gas Protocol, Global Compact, ISO 26000, and yes.
Almost, yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And finish, yes, applause, applause, yeah.
And I'm sorry, please like us on Facebook, 360 Report, and do our free trial because it's very, very important to spread CSR and make companies more sustainable.
Yeah, okay, another applause. So, in this FridayAtSix show, we go from corporate social responsibility and being a startup in Berlin and really feeling strongly about startups also, already from the beginning, have to care about CSR. We go live directly to a wonderful concert of Wilfried de Wever and Twilling. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for this rock and roll band.
How many dudes that would you kill each and every child who dreamed that you could still put up a fight? Just didn't get my sleep, and I rewrote this song together, made up a one refrain, then took the board and sang away, and sang this gospel along the way that we make today, we make today, we get to make our living and we pray, yeah, 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 the way. before I never thought about it, now it's crystal clear. It's not just about now, it's about now and here. So you can wallow in the past to make the sorrow last. We'll spread this gospel on the world. That we make today, we make today, we make today, we make today, today. Just one step at a time. Make up your mind and then leave it behind. Breathe without looking, live without regret, let it go. Cause we make our day, we make today. We get to make our living and we pray the world. We make the day, we make the day. We get to make our living and pray the way. Today, we make today. We get to make our living and we pray the way. We make the day, we make today. We get to paint our living and we pray the way.
Wilfried de Wever and his band Zwilling. So, Nathan, I need some help. Thank you. So here at my table are now these two wonderful, one VC, one analyst here on my left side. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lina Chung. And on my right side, one of my favorite female entrepreneurs from the Berliner scene. I've known her for a little bit longer, and I'm very proud that she's here tonight in my Friday at 6 show. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniela Schiffer. And of course, you know her of changers.com. And Daniela, to start off right with you, show us your product, because it's always so much better, because part of your product is actually hardware. So you might as well show it right from the start. What are you doing, Daniela, with changers?
Okay, well that's, hello? Is it open? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes, very good. Well, that's actually one of the nice things about hardware, is that I have actually something to show at this very moment. Now it's working? Yes. So what you see here, or what we have done actually, is we have developed a solar charger and a solar panel, which is portable, which is small, which you can just put into your bags or pockets, whatever, and you can charge your mobile devices like a smartphone, a tablet, PC, etc. Well, so far so good. It's hardware. That's like, solar charger is not really something special, besides that it really looks nice and it works. What makes this device special is that it actually measures the exact amount of CO2 you have saved by using your own green energy. And these data can then be uploaded to our community, changers.com. And there then you can see your achievements, compare with your friends, and basically just get like statistics and data on what you have done so far. And we think that in order to motivate people, the easiest thing is to have to give CO2 credits for the okay, I'm moving too much. To give credits for every gram of CO2 people have saved, right? And these credits can then be redeemed on our marketplace for sustainable products. And
and it's a shame that you say that so fast, because this redeeming of credits is so nice, because you can get things back in return for that. So you've developed a hardware device, right? Then you developed software, and then actually as a third component, you have this wonderful social platform where people can check each other out. You have the same goal. You're using this solar energy actually to, you know, get in touch with other people that are like-minded, so to say.
Right. So we really say we use the hardware as a tool for the community. So basically, this is like forging your money in order to then spend it on our marketplace.
And,
yes.
and you got a prize out of the hands of the Bundeskanzler and Kanzlerin, I have to say.
Right.
So in Germany, I mean, we're here in Germany, of course. This is like the higher up you cannot get, right? And you got 15,000 euros as well.
Right.
So this was a great achievement after. We also have to mention that, of course, after a really difficult year.
Absolutely. No, that's we are really proud of the how far we have gotten with this, and also of the recognition we are getting right now with our product. So that's great. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Lina, welcome to the show. You're an analyst at Hasso-Plattner Ventures.
That's right.
So you're analyzing how many proposals per year are you sifting through?
Well, on average, I would say we get about, per person in the fund, probably about 1 to 5 every day.
1 to 5 every day?
Per person.
Per person. And how do they come in? All intros or like in the email box? Or because I'm so curious, because you get these emails, everybody tries to be, of course, like the best, the most smartest. Do they all say, "Hi, Lina, yeah, we talked 2 weeks ago, here's my proposal," or?
Sure, yeah, I mean, there's a variety of ways that deals come across our tables. I would say the most effective channel would be through a personal introduction, especially coming from one of the partners at our fund. Otherwise, you know, there's random cold call emails. We look through all of them, by the way, so.
You look through all of them.
Yes.
Kieran O'Leary from Early Bird once told me that actually what lands like as a cold email in the inbox gets the less attention. That's kind of the intern work. Is that true or?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Let's be very real, it's true.
Yeah. So if you don't have an introduction over a partner at your venture capital partner,
or generally
then it becomes
anybody in the fund. Anybody in the fund can get excited about a company or an entrepreneur and introduce it to the fund.
Yeah. And you are doing consumer internet. So what excites you at this moment? What really makes you happy when you think, okay, when I get this, then I'm super happy?
You know, I'm really excited about very innovative companies. Especially working in industries that really haven't been disrupted in a very long time, right? Yes. I'll use an example just because it's the latest deal that we did in the online travel space. If you think about the online travel space, you think about Kayak and, you know, all these Expedia, all these kinds of companies.
Jitsi, Triposo.
No, like OTAs, like where you book your travel. So Jitsi is for more so for events. But if you think about online travel, it hasn't really been changing all that much over the last, 5 to 10 years. Right. So then I look at industries like that and see, okay, who are the people working in these kinds of in these spaces, and what are they doing? And are they doing something unique? Are they doing something special? And you'll find some gems.
So online travel is something that really excites you now. What do you see in this business?
So a lot of what I see is taking traditional like OTA, so travel agencies online. I'll give you an example of the cruise industry. There's
the cruise industry.
Yes, I mean when
don't
most people
all these
book
boats
cruises,
sink and
I hope not all of them. No, I mean, traditionally people have been booking cruises through travel agencies, right? I mean, you can also think of the demographic, like who actually books cruises, generally older people. There's a company out there right now called Dreamlines that are... they're
Great name.
Thank you. Well, thank them.
Yeah.
Who really brought this kind of cruise booking space to the web. Very simple, very, very simple, but it's something that's, moving naturally with everything. Yeah.
And now we have to touch upon like a little bit a sensitive topic. Because, I mean, as a German venture capitalist, you have to kind of deal with the situation that entrepreneurs here in Berlin, but probably everywhere, rather not go to a German VC first, right?
Why not?
Because, I can tell you, because German VCs take a very fucking long time to decide whether they're going to invest or not.
Could be true, but it's not true for Hasso-Plattner Ventures, at least in my experience.
How long does it take at Hasso-Plattner if you have a really good idea to invest?
A really good idea.
Yeah, where everybody, the partner
What-
meeting is in 3 days and they all agree. How long does it then take before the money is on the account?
From 1 month to 3 months, and it really depends, right, on the stage
okay,
of the
no,
company.
but wait. So you have this perfect situation where everything's perfect, and then it takes 1 month to 3 months. That's pretty long. 3 months is pretty long when you have this kick-ass awesome idea.
Look, I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to do as venture capitalists. So there's certain responsibilities that come across our table that we really have to uphold. We have to do proper due diligence. We can't just recklessly invest money where we think
That's what everybody then said. Oh, this due diligence, these Germans, they go over every detail. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know this entrepreneur, right? You believe in the idea. Everything is
That's right.
perfect.
Yes.
Due diligence, that's nothing then.
Well, I mean, maybe what you're thinking about is a very new company, something where, you know.
But you've been following this entrepreneur for a long time, right? You know who he is.
That depends.
Okay.
That depends. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's the case that there are contracts, there are lawyers, there are people looking into the technology to see if it's sound. We have to see if it fits in the market. You know, we as a venture capitalist, we have to see if we can help the company grow in a certain industry, and you know, all of that takes a little bit of thought.
By the way, I'm not blaming you personally for everything that all the entrepreneurs are saying for
look.
like Germany. So it's not
All
only
I know is
natural.
I like to do my job properly.
Right.
So it's,
yeah. So when we talk about changers again, they are kind of having a different path. They are going to seed match and they do crowd investing. How do you look because I mean, I guess that we can pretty surely say that VCs have like a pretty bad rendement over the last 10 years. How do you look at all these different forms of investment that are now also available for entrepreneurs?
You know, I personally, I think it's great. I think it gives an extra avenue for certain kinds of companies that might not necessarily be a venture capital case, a way to get, a means to get some funding. I haven't really encountered a company that we funded that had taken capital from this way before. So I can't really say how it is. What the cap table looks like, for example, or what the politics looks like.
So the cap table, how many people are actually having a share in the company?
Holding
right.
the company, or
so,
how that is in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Daniela, can you tell why crowd investing?
Well, I mean, for us, actually, it was a pretty obvious idea for a platform which actually is offering a crowd energy production and a crowd CO2 saving. Yeah. It was the most natural idea to go and say, okay, we're going to ask the crowd to invest in us and to just have these micropayments. Yeah. And,
But if Axel partner said to you, hey, we want to invest, would you have then say no and said, no, sorry, we're going to do crowd investing?
Absolutely not. I mean...
Okay. So is it a kind of a B choice, or is that too hard to say?
No, I think that's too hard to say. But of course, I mean, you look at different options and see what comes first. And actually, what we said, or the path we would like to go, is to first do a crowd investing, perhaps even do a second one in the United States. So first do it nationally, then go international, and then with this tracker go to a VC and say, look, that's what we did. That's the traction we got. And so that's basically what.
And I haven't looked at the what's the current standing now of how much money have you raised now in the current campaign?
I think we are now at 44,000 euros.
Already?
Yes.
And you set a goal of 50,000, right?
No,
Sorry.
basically the span is in between 50,000 and 250,000.
Okay.
And you are for 60 days on this platform.
Yeah.
And so basically you, of course, I mean, investing or talking to a crowd, this is a continuous thing, so you have to continuously go and motivate people and say like, hey, look, come on, and it's I know it's still time, but you have to, or basically it's something that you have to be pretty pushy about. So it's like a public, it's like an IPO, so they're also like companies have to do a lot of advertisement in order to get people to sign.
Yeah. So because of the fact that you had this difficult year last year, right? I mean.
Right.
You recovered, you bought back the shares after this bankruptcy that you encountered.
You can say that we filed insolvency, it's fine, it's okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, of course, that, and now actually I want to ask this to Lina, I mean, does it really make a difference for you to know that these entrepreneurs that maybe come for money have failed the first time?
You know, I must say, from my personal opinion, if you have failed the first time around and you've been able to pick yourself up and kind of, you know, rally this kind of crowd to back you up, I think that says a lot about, you know, your kind of endurance and your product.
Yeah. And does your Israeli long-time German boss Aaron Davidson also says the same?
I'm sure he would. I'm very, very sure
because
he would.
This Risikokapital, this typical German aspect of, you know, being very risk aversive. You're of course American, right? So
Yes.
I mean, you see sometimes also differences within the team how people view upon the history of entrepreneurs.
No, I really don't. I think the kind of risk adversity really comes from risk outside of the entrepreneur and not necessarily with the entrepreneur. I mean, I think market risk, you know, operational risk, those kinds of things, but not necessarily with the entrepreneur. No.
Yeah.
Now, perhaps I can even answer there too, because we talked also, of course, to some VCs, and I had a conversation 2 months, I think, after we filed, and I was like, yeah, and then we filed, and he was like, yeah, it's okay. And then I go like, no, it's not okay. And he goes like, yes, I know, but it's okay. You know, so it's people really, for VCs, this is a normal situation. So sometimes normally they have 20% of their portfolio is in exactly this position. So it's not, it's again, insolvency is not the end of a company, you know. It really depends on why you had to file.
Yeah. Okay. A very, very big thank you for appearing tonight here on this stage of Friday at 6.
Thanks for having me.
A big applause for
you.
Daniela and Lina. Wilfried. Close into the microphone. And what is so wonderful of Berlin is that you've seen this guy performing on the band before, and now he's actually pitching his startup. So, give it up for Wilfried de Wever and his InnoJustice company.
Thank you. I have 2 minutes, so I'll be short. It's not really a startup I'm pitching, just a short clarification. I'm working with an organization in The Hague called HIL. They're specialized in justice innovations. They have a very strong local team in The Hague, the City of Peace and Justice, wonderful team, 20 people, experts in justice innovation, and a global platform called innovatingjustice.com, where there's 15,000 members worldwide working on justice. I came to Berlin 5 months ago because there's a great internet startup scene here, and with HIL we also focus on internet innovations. We're working now on this idea of not having business angels, but justice angels. So that means people who are interested in investing in justice-specific entrepreneurs, innovators, etc. And I'm here to reach out to the Berlin community to see if you're an entrepreneur working in the domain of justice, that could be dispute management or rule making or anything in the legal industry, or if you're an investor interested and passionate about peace and justice, but you also are familiar and aware of the big return on investment that's possible there because it's an industry waiting to be transformed, then send me an email and we can make this happen in Berlin. I can connect you with a strong network in the Netherlands and worldwide working on justice innovations. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Great, Wilfried. And later on, he is also going to play some more music for us while we relax and network. But we have a new part of this show at the end, and it's called Open Mic. So the concept is known. You can yourself now also come forward to this microphone, announce your event, pitch your idea, very shortly, of course, or just say anything that you want about the show, about the startup scene in Berlin, about a topic that you really want to talk about. So I had a couple of guys pitching me before that, hey Derek, I really want to be on the show and want to be in this open mic thing. So can the first one come forward now, please? I think that I saw Matt Patterson of the UI conference already here. Matt, can you come forward? Okay, give it up for Matt. Matt, you have around half a minute.
So UIConf is an independent iOS developer conference here in Berlin, organized by people in Berlin, because there was nothing in Berlin quite like it, and we thought there really needed to be. It's on the 2nd of May at Heimathafen in Neukölln. It's a full day of conference with great talks, great conversation, great food, and great coffee. A second day is a hackathon where you get to hang out with the other amazing attendees. There's only going to be 200 attendees max. It's going to be really intimate. It's going to be great. Our speakers so far include Daniel Eggert, who made the iPhone camera app for Apple, James Viner from Poetica, which is the startup co-founded by Blaine Cook of Twitter, Louisa Heinrich, ex-Fjord, ex-BBC, all-round general awesome strategic design, service design person, Peter Steinberger. If you ever use an iOS app that uses PDFs, you've probably used his PS PDF kit. And a live announcement for you guys tonight. Chris Heathcote from the UK's Government Digital Service, and Joris Clivers from ex-Uber and CardCloud, who's working on something new and secret. UIConf is www.uiconf.com. That's UIConf with a K. Tickets are €300 plus VAT. Come, it's going to be amazing.
This is exactly what I mean. This is perfect. The UIConf on the 2nd of May. Tickets cost €300, and that's of course nothing for a good conference that takes on this topic of iOS mobile app development. So thank you so much, Matt. And also from the corner of my eye, I saw my very good colleague Dave Knight of Silicon Alley here, and they're of course now trying to raise money in another crowdfunding campaign. So Dave, come forward and pitch Silicon Alley, my friend.
Too much of a short ask. Well, I hope most of you know me already. I'm Dave Knight, the editor of Silicon Alley. We are really an organically grown, community-driven platform. Obviously, we have the blog, and we do events that hopefully you guys know. And we really feel there's a place in this scene for an independent, community-driven source of news. And we're doing a crowdfunding campaign, looking for your support to help us grow what we already do. We're trying to do 4 things. We're trying to increase our editorial coverage by finding new, amazing freelance writers. We want to put on bigger and better events, the sort of events you need a bit of capital behind. We're going to create a complete directory of the startup scene here in Berlin, all the companies, all the people, everything. And we're also trying to really increase the links between the universities here in Berlin, all the thousands of very talented students, and the startups, and those links aren't really there. Our campaign is on Indiegogo. I tweeted the link from @SiliconAlley earlier this evening, and we're really looking for your support to help us expand what we've been doing. And I really must emphasize, we're a completely independent. We don't have any investment. We're not backed by any large company. We're really trying to be the PBS or the BBC of the Berlin scene. So any and all help is very much appreciated. We have a bunch of little prizes for people who donate, ranging from a coffee to a t-shirt to a range of promotional packages. So thank you very much.
And I mean, if everybody is going to talk so confident and good into the camera, I will lose my job, because all these guys are doing such a great job. So is there anybody else who wants to pitch their company, wants to say something about tonight? Then now is the chance. And otherwise the music is going to play, and we are going to have a super nice concert afterwards and network a bit. So this is my last call. Anybody who wants to step forward? I hear something behind my back, some noise. Hi. Hi. Go ahead.
Hi. Hello, I'm Danilo.
I'm Giuseppe.
Yeah, and we're also crowdfunding. We're not doing something as big and epic as many of you have shown here. We're doing something very small and simple. We want to screen the Startup Kids movie publicly in Berlin for free for everybody. So we're crowdfunding right now to get the screening right, which is a goal of €600 in total. Nothing big. I'm doing it here in cash right now, here, there for the noise. And we're inviting you, everybody, to join us, help us out, and please coming over to the event the 20th of April in the rally pad.
Yeah.
It's going to be the 20th of April in the Rally Pad. And yeah, it's going to be the first public screening of the Startup Kit. So please, if you want to donate something, it's going to be very nice to share this inspiring movie all together.
Okay, 600 euros, we must reach that tonight, right? Because his Startup Kits, I already saw it, but it's a beautiful movie, you really have to go there, and a public screening means that all the fun people come. So, thank you so much for watching. This was the Friday at 6 show. I'm going to leave you with an awesome concert. Thanks for coming. See you next month. Bye.